is why you never get strong or make zero gains, even though you're in the gym all the time. My name is Mark Hayes, I'm an ex-engineer and I'm one of the strongest online coaches that you know of. I've also been running my successful online coaching business since 2023 and I've been helping people just like you get into shape of their lives, one session at a time. My aim for these videos is simple, to give you the best up-to-date information out there to stop you falling into the trap that is social media, where fitness wankers feed off your confusion to make a quick profit. And it's happening every single day to people just like you, who now want to put on some strength and size. So in my last video, I went over the nutrition aspect of how to get in shape, how to stay lean, and what to do after it. And if you haven't watched that video, I suggest watching it before getting stuck into this, which you can watch about here. But what if you have done that dieting bit and now you want to get jacked once and for all? How do you go about it? Because if you've been flat out going to the gym, getting up before work every morning to smash a couple of reps, busting a gut to do as much sessions as possible, but still don't find yourself lifting heavier weights or any more reps than usual, then it's best to take my advice from this video, where I will have you going from looking like Mr. Tickle, as I once did, to hitting heavier weights for more reps every single time you set foot in the gym, hitting PBs every single week, and to making rapid gains in a fraction of the time had you not have watched this video. Are you ready for that? Vamos! So you're putting in the effort, you're getting those sessions done before work, you're adding in extra sessions there at the weekend. I respect that, but more sessions are not your issue. In fact, they're a reason a lot of people don't tend to get stronger, where they end up doing too much work, they end up training so much that their body actually can't cope with it, and they inevitably lead to burnout, injury, or worse, boredom. Bored and not seeing any return for your efforts, and when that happens, you start looking up useless stuff like high rocks. We can all make huge improvements to our current strength levels, to our actual gains right now, if we leave that utter woke nonsense where it should be, in the bin. Let's move on. We live in a world where instant gratification exists now more than ever before. Like Reels, TikToks, food delivery apps, you name it. Instant dopamine hits. But that's the very reason why it's so impressive when you walk down the street next to a real-life Greek god, or walk into a gym seeing a female banging out bodyweight pull-ups, because you know that there was no such instant gratification that got them to that position. They earned it. Those hardy bastards put a lot of time and effort into that stuff, and you can't just buy your way to a pair of boulder shoulders or perfect bodyweight pull-up technique. The joys of these feats is the exact opposite of instant gratification, because it takes months, and in some cases years, to develop such strength to be able to do that. And if you think building muscle is going to happen for you overnight, well, I have some news for you, buddy. So once you accept the fact that getting stronger and building muscle will take effort and time, now we just have to appreciate the journey that goes along with it.
Go on, I'll open the door for you.
So let's dwell more into that side of things. Most people have no concept of progression targets, so their body has no reason to adapt. So if I asked my cat Stevie at home to stop jumping up on the table, she'd laugh at me. However, if I offered her a treat for every time she stayed on the ground and didn't jump up on the table, she'd probably do it a lot more. She'd adapt to the situation. And stop the neighbours thinking that we're dirty yolks letting the pets on the tables. Of course we don't do that. But the very same thing applies to your body, funnily enough. You actually need to give it a good reason to grow and adapt. Your body wants to forever remain in a state known as homeostasis, where it keeps all cell production, hormone function in a constant state of balance, unless convinced otherwise. So if you went into the gym and started benching 80 kilos for the same reps as you did last week, you're not going to see too much gains made in your chest. So we need to fix this by giving ourselves some targets to aim for, which leads me on to my next point, where I'll show you exactly where you've been going wrong up until this point. Random workouts you find on YouTube. Going into the gym to chase a pump a couple of times a week. Copying Sydney Sweeney's workout routine because she apparently put on 30 pounds of muscle in the lead up to her role playing as Christy. Yeah, right. Highly sus, but let's not get distracted by her big, juicy delts. All these things have one common flaw. They don't have any intent behind them, and they don't have any targets for you to aim for. So as per my previous point, and let's say you want to lift more weight on the bench press, but say you're struggling to hit more than 80 kg on that. This is where the difference between training with intent and just training hard come into play. So let's take a real life example of a client of mine who was in this very pickle. We broke his training down into 3 5-week training blocks with the aim of hitting a 100 kilo bench by the end of the 15 weeks. We followed a simple 5-3-1 scheme, where in the first block we had 3 sets of 5 reps, 3 sets of 3 reps in the second block, followed by 3 sets of singles. Intent was new to him at the time. Fairly basic stuff, but training with intent was fresh and new to him at the time, so it actually worked wonders. I would look at his form as part of his weekly check-ins and give him form feedback. I would then recommend weight selections for the coming week for him to aim for, and it's exactly what I would recommend to you too. That way we can check out how good the weights are moving, aim to increase by as little as 2.5 kilo increments each week, and learning to compound repeated sessions to build more muscle, and as a result of that, improve strength in areas that you want to work on the most. Repeat this not only for bench, but for any other exercise. Say you want to deadlift twice your body weight, or for example, maybe you want to squat 200 kilos for the first time. These are all really good targets for you to aim for. And by following this system and training with intent, rather than just training hard, it will happen eventually for you. So if you take away anything from this video, let it be this. You don't need to be doing more sessions, and you definitely don't need to be following the latest fitness trend for 4 weeks in an attempt to grow muscle. But what you need to start doing is training with intent. And if you've gotten this far in the video, you too are probably sick and tired of being stuck in this same loop. That loop where you're training hard, pushing yourself as hard as you can, and still not seeing any improvements to your physique, and not seeing any more weights being added to the bar. So go back through your current training and ask yourself this one simple question. What am I actually trying to improve next week? And if you can't answer that clearly, you should now know exactly where you've been going wrong. And just by clearing that up is exactly how people go from spinning their wheels week in, week out to hitting PBs consistently. And by changing your training to just training hard, to actually forcing progressions, aiming for realistic targets, this will stop the results being just a surprise to you. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like, leave a comment on your struggles at the moment and see if I can help, and make sure to subscribe so I can see you in the next one. Peace.